Michael, Stacy.
Yes. Hey, Paul.
It's nice. Hey, Steve Cole has a very nice virtual background. See, Kerry
He
doesn't
does.
do virtual background. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Wouldn't you like to be right there?
No.
No, on a board? Yeah, you would. Sure.
On a board. Oh,
On
yeah.
a board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boogie board,
I'll be
surfboard.
under a board right now. 1 to 2 foot waves. It's about what I can handle now. I'd like to have that point break moment where the guy gives up and rides out and gets a huge
Right.
wave. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good movie.
That could be the way it goes. But I'll be paddling into 3 to 4 foot. Get overwhelmed. Pass.
Did you see The Endless Summer?
Oh yeah, I remember that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Endless Summer. Annette, yeah, David Lowe, everyone. Susan Harris. Thank everyone for everything. Uh, we'll start in a minute, eh, Mike? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to talk about something that usually this person's involved, but it's not personal. We don't give names or anything. It's just it's the example. Yeah. So a friend of mine called me up and did what happens with quite a lot when people have heard non-duality. Yes. They the action figure has its own idea of non-duality. Yes, yes. So it's sort of like a extreme absolute with no variation. And so they've had that, they've heard the non-duality, and of course the head has heard non-duality, and then it makes up its idea, and then it gets applied to an action figure event, which is surrender, and it's like, well, who's there to surrender or what to surrender? Yeah. But it's action figure. Yeah. And in the action figure world, so let's say it's like a toy world. Actually, the cleaner way for the action figure is surrender. Yeah. Because obviously it's in a constant movement and it's pointed in different directions and it has a certain energy, which is will, pushing it. And in that case, uh, surrender is the most appropriate uh, uh, arriving at surrender is the most appropriate thing as the action figure. Yeah. Not bringing in the philosophy of non-duality because to the action figure, it's a philosophy. Yeah. It's something to use, where non-duality isn't something to use. It's something that is, yeah, the message. It's not about use or non-use or radical clear use and stupid and dumb use. It's not useful. Yeah, it just is. And then you may find usefulness out of that, but it is. That I feel anyway. So I liked what Ramana Maharshi said one time, probably said many times, but he basically said for the action figure, there's only two ways, which is get to the origin of your misery, have a surrender to a greater power than you can understand. You don't have to give it a name or anything, but one clear thing is it's not you as the action figure. Yeah. And now the will continues, the feeling of self-will continues, all these senses that go on continue, but now they're directed in a different way. Yes? The head isn't directing it, something else is directing it. And shortly thereafter, if the action figure has been driven by the head for so long, it has the something else is driving. Yes? It's not like two levels below a coconut. It can sense how it's being treated by one driver or the other driver. The problem with the one driver, it says there's no other driver. Yeah. So this driving of the mental idea of you as the manager, the doer, the chooser, yeah, the feeler, that doesn't have room for another driver. It's that way and the highway. Yeah. So when it starts getting broken down, possibilities leak in. And one of them is for people who have lived as an action figure driven by a form of addiction, uh, they usually end up in similar places. They usually end up in recovery or institution jails and death in a lot of ways. Yes, they do, inevitably. It just goes that way. So this action figure knows what it's like to be driven. It does, you know. It thinks it's the driver, but when there's a recognition that it isn't, it knows what it's like to be driven, and it doesn't want to be driven anymore the other way. And so, therefore, it surrenders. It doesn't surrender. The action figure doesn't surrender. It surrenders the will and the life that it seems to be a part of. Yes? And it just gives it turns it over to another care. Because obviously self-treatment hasn't worked well. Yeah. And really, ultimately, it's failed. The system of that, they made some incredible statements, which is one of them is any life run on self-will hardly be a success. Yes? Yes. That's a pretty big statement. It's not saying every addicted life or alcoholic life. It's basically saying any life run on self-will is hardly going to be a success. Wow, that's an incredible statement. Yeah. So I feel, see, because when the action figure starts chanting, it's not an action figure, it's chanting it as an action figure. You understand? Yeah. Because if you were the absolute, you wouldn't be chanting, I'm not a body, because the absolute knows it's not a body. It's the body identification that's fucking confused. Mental state here's non-duality. It uses it in outlandish ways, but they're very standard. Yeah. Like when you hear someone entertain the idea that they're not the doer, the next thing they say, does that mean I'm going to lay on a couch all day? It just, you can guarantee it. The head hears it. There's a hearing of it. The head says it's the hear of it. And then it takes about a second. And then you're on a couch for the whole day. So concerning that action figure, I feel surrender is a much more uh, efficient. Yes. Because trying to not be you as the you is just more of the not you. Yeah. I feel. So just if the action figure has come to a point or something has failed, see it as just the piece of in the Monopoly game. Don't try to see it as the absolute because it doesn't work. Humbly, that's how I feel. So on that case, probably the best move the action figure could be led to is surrender, to turn over what is called its own, which is life and will, to something that can do a better job. Yeah, that's all. And then the non-duality will bring light into that. That surrender will be illuminated by non-duality. But non-duality is not a way to surrender. It's just light. It illuminates whatever you're doing. Yeah. So wanted to share that because I've heard it many times and I'm just casting out my opinion about it. Yeah. I do not, the action figure, trying to figure things out as the absolute in the action figure world, I don't believe works well. Yeah. It's sort of like you feel like shit. It's like the thing we used to say. If you're in a house and it's burning, yeah, and you've heard non-duality, you'll probably say while you're burning in that house, there is no house and there's no me and there's no fire. It's just much better to get water. Yeah, get a pail of water. Get the relief. Yeah, yeah. So it can go a lot of ways, but it's the movement is the same. Yeah. So the head is trying to get out of itself with a philosophy in a sense. Yeah. And then what you could really be, what you could be led to go to that would be really great for you, you detour because of the philosophy. Yeah. There's no one to surrender, so I'm not going to surrender. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to put it that way. It says, hey, if you're up to the task of looking at the origins of your misery, yeah, great. But most people aren't. So surrender. Yeah. Surrender, turn over this will and this life that you think is yours over to the care of something greater than you. The self, the idea of self. Yeah, pretty good. Does that suddenly, because you surrender, that disqualifies you from non-duality entertaining? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not like you got to be faithful to this to the one way. Yes, it's either surrender. No, it can be surrender in the action figure world of time and space and non-duality as the absolute before of all this. Yeah. Yeah. They're both, it can, because time and time, they can both be happening at the same time. Yeah. It isn't really happening. It's always happening in no time. And then in time, you could come to a conclusion, I'm fucked. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. And maybe I should just give up the ghost. Yeah. Yeah. Exact same. Yeah. One will illuminate the other. The other doesn't actually go to where you already are, the non-duality. Yeah. But the non-duality will illuminate the surrender, I feel. Yeah. So just wanted to share that because I've heard it many, many times, the confusion. I saw it in my head when I was younger with it. And it's just an aberration of the failed system. When it hears non-duality, it basically usually gets the same reaction. It's either I'm gonna leave here and take 5 tabs of acid, or I'm gonna lay on a couch all day. I'm never gonna do anything. It's really shows its ignorance in its reaction to the message. Yeah, that's where I see the great value in it. You will feel so foreign to the that which reacts to non-duality. You will. When you hear what the head says, when been at satsang or something like that, you will get a hit of this cannot possibly be me. Yeah. You really. It just it just has. And then when because it has a biography of you in time and space, the statistics, you were born here, you were done that. But let's say when you read the course and it describes you more like a verb, it's much more intimate when you hear the description of you from the course than it is from the mental state. Yeah. That you're this story and you're this tall and you did that, therefore this happened, and on and on. Just a feeling of being awake as an act, not a destination, but an act. Yeah. And where is the beginning of the awakeness and the end? In your dream, it could be the beginning wasn't even, you didn't even notice the first year and a half of this life, and the end would be at the end of life. But obviously, the awakeness extends. Yeah. Yeah. So, uh, um, And let's say you get a grip on duality idea, you don't return the surrender. Yes, you don't. Okay, here's the surrender back. You know what I mean? That stays applied to the action figure. Yes, yeah. Don't send it back because the action figure is going to be the action figure. It's going to, yes. So stick with that surrender deal, and then the non-duality is sort of uh, a, a a bonus, a huge bonus, yeah, around it. So uh, this is what happened. I heard the message, and then the head heard the message. Yeah, and the head's pretty damn fast. The first one that took note was the head. Yeah, it just was. But then didn't know what to do with that aha that you would feel, or a something in your gut that you just knew this was true before anything becomes true. Yes. Or that, wait a minute, this is like the last answer or something. It couldn't get it. It said, but it couldn't get before it after that was felt. Yes. Yeah. That aha has a quality of reverberation that the head can't stay up with. Yeah. It just, the head will trip over its own mechanism, and there'll be a pause there, and then the emperor will be seen with no clothes. And yeah, it's inevitable. It does. If something is dependent on time, it's always going to trip up. Yeah, it can't be pulling it off every moment. But something that is not of time is so. Yeah, like what is is different than anything that comes and goes in time. Yeah, it's a completely different quality. And the head that's been grown in time and weaned in time uh, it can't match it. It can't grok it. It can't get it. Yeah. So it decides, it says it's going to say it knows it. Yeah. I know non-duality, this and that. It is. That's its conclusion. Yeah. Its inability will be hidden by an idea of I know it. Yeah. Yeah. So Um, here's someone people coming in. So if anyone wants to share right now, or then we'll just go off on some other tangent. But yeah, throw something out there if you like. There you go, Eric.
Eric from SoCal.
Yeah, I'll throw something out there.
Thank you, Eric. Yes.
What the head says is how. How does surrender happen? The old inevitable how question. Right?
To the head. Well, uh it's usually a gift, but then you need to notice it. Yeah. So there are
Yeah. Whoops, he froze. Did he freeze for other people?
I freeze. Let
Yeah,
me put something
yeah.
on. It should come back on in a second. Yeah, hold on. I forgot to put the enhance. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Oh, I forgot to put the enhancer in the room. The kids are here. We have the house is 98% Italian, and I'm just a 2% Irish. So I'm boxed in a little room. We've got some Italians from Italy with the Italians from here. So so uh, so I'm in the bedroom. So what I was saying, Eric, about the surrender,
It's
I
a
think it's a gift, and the gift will give you something if you notice it. Yeah. Now, I didn't notice that when I was caught by the police, and I was trying to get away, I ended up surrendering to the police. Yeah. I didn't know that's what I was doing when I signed up for 2 years in that program, 1985 to 87, but I was surrendering to that program. Yeah, because I had been led to a point where I had no more moves to make. Yes. So surrender happened quite a lot. And then there was a surrender uh, because it was like night and day. I was drinking and then I wasn't drinking. And that wasn't drinking has gone on for 37 years. So there was a moment I was drinking and then there wasn't. And in that moment, there was a flash in the screen, the stilled, the movie stopped, and the screen, and I was staring right at this emptiness, whatever. And then letters came up with a voice and it said, "You're fucked." Yeah, really. It was an obvious fact that I've been avoiding for years at that point. Yes. And then it said underneath it, "You're not managerial quality." Just no venom or anything, just clear facts of the action figure. That the action figure driven by the head was trying to avoid and deny. And it just ran out of time and drugs and everything else like that. And then something intervened and whacked me. And then from there, I sort of knew what surrender was. And I saw that what's the most important aspect of surrender is what you surrender to. Yes. Yes. When I went to surrender to the cops, I went to jail. When I surrendered to that program, I was in an institution. When I surrendered to this higher power, it gave me a way of life that would lead me to be a free range alcoholic. Yeah. I like that last surrender because it's been and I believe when you have a sense of surrender, it can be turn into surrendered. I do. Yeah. And surrendered is sort of like abstinence, or it's sort of like not starting drinking. Yeah. If I wanted to stop drinking and I had one drink, it would be very, very difficult. Yeah. If the head got reminded, man, who knows? All bets would be off. But it never starts. Yeah. And to me, that's a surrendered state. Yeah. And I believe uh, we may not know it's in the system, but I think it's one of the backup apps in the action figure, as it can understand surrender. I do. And therefore it will submit, yeah, to having the will in life given over to something else. And it will really learn how to hallelujah and stuff because of how it works. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a built-in humility being an action figure that the head likes to avoid because the head thinks it's all there is. But there's a built-in humility to the action figure that it can't do everything. Yes, it's not equipped. And in this case, it can't direct a life. Yeah, it just goes awry. So, yeah, I feel that's the case with surrender.
Or it's very, very limited. And the key there, it sounded like you said, seeing a fact. You're just simple fact, and you're just seeing it.
Yes. See, the head did not want to see that. So the head knew I was fucked, but didn't want to know it. So at that point, the drinking and everything else was to avoid knowing that I was fucked. Yeah. I wasn't having much fun. It was more like an occupation to keep that fact not rising to the surface. So I feel a lot of times there's a knowing that the head does not want to know. And therefore, it puts all of its effort to deny that and distract it and get you all wrapped up in consequences. Yeah. but all the while there was a knowing of something. And then to me, in this case, it was a sudden revelation. So it was drinking and in this little mental hell, and then suddenly a whack, and my whole life changed from there. It just blew my mind. After, in hindsight, the whole thing, the whole direction, which had a lot of momentum going one way, was paused and started going another way. Yeah. Yeah. It's just incredible, really. And this is why I mean the not being an action figure isn't that doesn't mean there's no joy in an action figure. There's a lot of joy. There's a joy when I see someone get that their role in things in their life when it comes to alcoholism. It's a big thing. I feel really the action figure has a lot of levels of joy and stuff like that. It's just not us. Yes. That's all. Yeah. It's not like it has to be starved and punished for not being a good not us. No. It has its joys. Yeah. And and uh and it has a lot of moments, a lot of moments. Of course, they vanish and they disappear like smoke, but in that moment, there can be a lot of stuff going on. And I feel the action figure is a great expresser. I think something can, there are things that take us over that express through the action figure. And it also has a second quality, which it can observe the expressions. Yeah. And there's another quality that it will react to the observing of the expressions, like with gratitude, yes, and with this and with that. That's pretty cool to me. Yeah, yeah. The fact is, it's just not it. And I believe it needs to be in that clarity because when you make it you, it really screws it up. It does. I mean, it doesn't like getting electrocuted all day by mental anxieties and you know yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting what you said about it was like a job, it's no longer fun. It was effort.
Oh, I had
There's an
to
effort element in
keep the curtain closed. I had to drink and use the curtain. There was an urge to go wide open. It had to be you were holding the curtain closed. Yeah. That was your action figure assignment at that point. The head did not want to fucking admit something, and the body was used to deny it. Yes, yes, yeah. And for some people, it can span a lot of time. Yeah. Other people, I mean, to me, I had given up hope because I thought my last shot was the 2 years I was in that program, Delancey Street, and I was completely demoralized when I left and I got loaded again. It was just a real bummer. Yeah. I mean, I lost a lot of hope. And and then I had just settled into real, never having it better again. Just try to stay oblivious by being loaded on something. Yes, until I ended up in jail or another institution or death. And luck, something just decided to intervene on that process and whack me. Yeah, didn't have no idea it was coming a second before it came, and nothing. Something just stopped the show, put the broadcast on, and something in me got it because I started behaving differently after that. And I ended up in my first meeting that night of AA, and I was introduced to a way of life, yeah, that would keep that miracle alive for 36 years. And it can go on for 36,000 years. Yeah. Or it can be 36 seconds. The principle works. Someone who's been drinking all his life and then goes to a couple meetings that one day he doesn't drink. He drinks again the next day, but the principle worked. Yeah, he did not drink that day. Then that can extend to 40 years, 60 years, 70 years, as long as you live. You can be sober. Yeah. So the principle isn't defined by time. Yeah. How we deal with it defines it in time. Yeah. So that's why AA says this is a day at a time event. Yeah. A day at a time. And so give unto Caesar's render unto Caesar's what Caesar's. The action figure has relevance in this dream. Does it have relevance outside the dream? No. Yeah. When you pass away, I don't believe it ever happened, to tell you the truth. But here, yes. And so surrender is a powerful thing. Yeah. It's what worked. If I would have been told about I'm not that, I would have been constantly trying to be not that as not that. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't work. So, yeah. So I believe you can recognize surrender if it's given to you. And I believe it can curate itself into surrendered. Yeah. I believe that you can be convinced. I do. Yeah. I don't believe the head can be convinced, truly, but I believe you can be convinced. Some aspect of you can be convinced. Yeah. Yeah. So back to this with non-duality. I don't think, as Paul, you can remember any time when you were not Paul. Yes? Yeah? So there have been many moments you were not Paul. Paul cannot get that. Yeah? That's why those moments are forgotten as quick as possible, because the head sees that as a threat. What, with this good news, and the system's reaction to this good news is that it's a threat. Why would you use that takes it to be a threat to try to figure it out? Or why would you expect that to receive the message of non-duality? It can't. The message is to the Buddha. It's not to the one who's using Buddhism. It's to the Buddha, the message is that the Buddha can't, you know, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. That was directed to the Buddha. It's not directed to the action figure. Yeah, yeah. And then the act that gets it, and then it influences the expressions and how the body, the action figure observes. That's what it does. And now suddenly, that which was traveling quite heavy learns how to travel lighter. Yeah, with this incredible gift from the of that is expressed in the in. Yeah, as Jesus says, we're in this world. That's the dream state, but we're not of this world. We are not of the dream state. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Oh, I was going to go back. Uh, hey, an Italian just walked in. Yes. The Italian, yes. The Italian walked in, if you know what I mean. Yes. Yes. I'm going to take a moment of silence, which is very unusual for an Italian. I'm starting to think about dinner. Yeah, so
Hey, hey, Paul, Robert just tossed his hand up.
oh, Robert, come on in, Robert. Thank you. You saved me.
Season's greetings, everyone. I love the idea of being surrendered. It just feels good without having to think about it. So I appreciate, the ideas that come from that without even really having to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Kind of like being at satsang or being in a meeting. It is just a feeling that everything's okay.
yes,
I don't think that comes from the head. I don't
no,
I don't think the head deals with that very well because let's just drop it right there. The thing I wanted to mention is that memory has become, somebody said that your memory, if truly there's no time, then whatever you're remembering is being like made up in the
yes,
moment. You're
yes.
making an interpretation every time you remember something, and it's like the event doesn't have any memory. I'm giving it whatever significance it has.
Well, you're not, the head is, yes.
The head is. The head is. Yeah, well, I haven't quite gotten out of the morass yet. But hey, I really appreciate your teaching, Paul. I appreciate it.
Well, great. We did a AA thing today, and I wanted just to say this sentence.
Yeah,
This
I
is
was there.
this is purely towards the action figure. Yes, it's beautiful. It says, perhaps there is a better way. This is incredible. I'll read the first part because in recovery, they diagnose the cause of fear or the mental anxieties that mimic fear. Yes. And they say fear is an effect of self-reliance. So self-reliance is what's allowing fear to be triggered with mental anxiety. Yeah. So it's incredible here. It goes, we asked ourselves why we had them. He was talking about all these different fears. Yes. So this is a question mark. We asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Yeah. Now, if you look at self-reliance, what would be the highest form of reliance in something? Taking yourself to be that something. Yes? Don't you think? So the act of being identified as self is the maintenance of the self-reliance. Yeah. So the self-reliance is constantly being maintained by the mental state, constantly, because it doesn't have any legs to stand on. There is no self. So here it goes, wasn't it because self-reliance has failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us, blah, 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 blah. So then they go here. Perhaps there is a better way. So in the world of the action figure, there are ways, yeah? And there are ways that may be better, and there are ways that may be worse. There are ways that could be longer, and there are ways that could be shorter. Yes? There's always the duality of everything going on. So here it goes. Perhaps there is a better way. Yeah. I don't like what they say now. It says we think so. I would say we feel so, but yeah. So perhaps there is a better way. We feel so. For we are now on a different basis. Now, who is on the different basis? The action figure. Yes? So the action figure has been moved from where it stood to some other position. Yeah. Now the boot can't hold on to the story that it walked to the other position because it was obvious. It had no idea and nothing to do with it. So it gets a sense that something brought me to this new position. It's an incredible feeling if the action figure can grok that. Yes. Instead of thinking everything is done by it and it climbed there. No, you were brought to this condition. Yeah. So it's like the story of the guy with the bag on his head in the Indian story when he gets on the train. Yeah. So he goes, perhaps there is a better way. We feel so, for we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon a higher power. Yeah. So now the action figure is on a new basis, and it's trusting and relying on a higher power. Now, what needs to be seen is what was it trusting before? It was trusting the head, yes? And the head is presented it as a self, and that self-reliance has failed us. Yeah. And because of that, we have this constant chronic condition of mental anxiety of how things are going to go and the fear that they may not work out the way we want them to because they haven't. Yeah. It's not an irrational fear or an anxiety. Yeah. But we keep relying on something that's unreliable, and the action figure shows it. Yeah. Yeah. So here we trust. Here we go. We are on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying on the higher power. We trust infinite God rather than finite self. Yeah. Well, let's just say you trust the infinite. This is the bomb, BALM, of recovery to the action figure, especially ones that were driven by alcoholism and addiction. This is the saving grace. This is it. Yeah. You're put in a new basis. You tell the truth about the system, that it's relying on something that's unreliable. And then something, whatever I know, don't know what it is, another power moves the faith that you represent to something that works. And then the action figure starts expressing that feeling of being taken care of. It's now chilled out. It's now can look at what I can help do for other people. It comes out of like the ostrich out of the sand and looks around. Yes, yes. And we trust, so we trust this infinite rather than the finite self. We are in the world to play it. We are in the world to play the role it assigns. This is a very calming recognition. Yes. You're not the controller and the director. So we are in the world to play the role it assigns. Yeah. Or as Ramana says, thy will is done. It's the same thing. Yes. So we have seed assignments as an action figure, and it's great when you recognize it. Yeah. Yeah. We are in the world to play the role he assigns, just to the extent that we do as we feel he would have us and humbly rely on him, does he enable us to match calamity with serenity? Yeah. Instead of match calamity with more calamity. This is the essence of the traveling lighter as the action figure. And this is a byproduct of non-duality. It is. In the dream, non-duality affects this effect. The action figure travels lighter through what's in store for him in this little world. Yeah. When it couldn't do that in the past. It wanted to, but it couldn't. Now it does because something has changed. Yes. You have lost a sufficient enough interest in you, the you that you're not, and that interest and attention that was used to enslave you is now enriching you. Yes? Yes. It can bring joy to the action figure. Gratitude is an incredible, tasty thing to chew on. Yeah. To feel like how fortunate you are. All these things. Yeah. They don't have to be neolized. Yeah. They're these they're ephemeral, they disappear, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yes. So yeah. So a lot of the changes that we recognize are where changes occur, which is in the dreaming. Yes. The absolute doesn't change. Yes. And now the thing of being concerned and so worried throughout every day of this life, now you have a peace and joy. And when this disappears, uh, it'll be like it never happened. Yeah. What a joy. Do you really believe when Paul ends, there's another Paul that is there? This is the only place Paul appears, is in the dream. There's no, there's if it tries to transcend this, it's complete negation. It's, there's never been a Paul to break the altitude that it believes it needs to transcend to become a super Paul. There is no, yeah. Super Paul, bummed out Paul, all the Pauls are in the dreaming. There's not one Paul that escapes the dreaming and is a Paul in reality. So, uh,
So enjoy the party while it lasts, huh?
well, why not? I mean, you're here.
Yeah,
Yes, you're
I'm
here.
starting to appreciate that. I'm starting to
Yeah,
appreciate it.
you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe this is really the motto or the creed of recovery, which is uh, we are in the world to play a role it assigns. Yeah. Yes. I feel the action figure will be much more at peace when it knows it's directed and it is not the director. Yeah. It will know that it's been brought to a position of neutrality. It did not produce a position of neutrality. Yes. That feeling, I feel, produces unease and comfort in the action figure. The anxiety of having to be the manager and the controller of everything does not produce that ease and comfort. Yeah, it produces irritability, agitation, and restlessness. Yes, yes, yes. So non-duality is just a blazing light through it all. Yeah. So you have a sense of the screen while there's an appearance of the film on it. Yeah. There's a sense of the screen while you're playing the role of the character in the movie. Yes. Hmm. It's the only way I'm going to be able to survive with 5 Italians in the house at once. Wait a minute. How many now? There's 6 Italians. It was hard enough with like 3. Now I got double. That's why I'm going to keep this meeting going on quite a while today. I'm truly taking refuge in the satsang. Uh, uh, see, but I've admitted I'm outmatched. Yeah, I am. There's no way I can talk an hour about food. Can't do it. I can't. So I just stay and I'm having a long, it's like a flash retreat. I'm going to be on here till 11 o'clock this evening. And so yes, the only way I'm going to walk into that room is me not walking into the room. If it was me, I would run out the back and get in my car and take off. That's funny. So yeah, anyone have anything else, or we can? We got Annette. Annette, you got your hand up? Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There was something I was listening to earlier, like as I was driving home.
Not your
I
head.
listened. Yeah, it was you. And I think it was, I didn't ever know, like it's the most recent talk, one of them. But the last thing I heard and what just had me pondering had to do with, well, not, you know what I mean? It's just like struck me. And then I had to turn it off for whatever else I was doing, which is good sometimes because I forgot about it until just now in a way. But you were saying what I thought I heard you say was, the idea of of not having concepts. So it's like not expecting things to be in a certain box and then you miss them,
Yes.
in life, just
Yes.
in all. And that is like ringing a bell again as I'm listening again here. And because I think you were talking about also too tying that into the Buddha and the action figure and and along with it altogether, I sort of feel like it has to do with like the idea of surrender is it's like I don't have a concept of what the fuck is going on. I'm just tired of being
Yes.
tired of trying X,
Yes.
Y, and Z, your way, my way, the highway, whatever way. Nothing's working. Supposedly, whatever working means, just exhausted and utter futility,
Yes.
and just open to the concept list of whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Good. And you may eat surrender now, but you may not get the taste for a little while. Yeah. So things happen now and then they appear maybe weeks later, months later. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
my head, but I do. Yeah,
Yeah. So mark my words, it happens a lot like that. Yeah.
it is happening.
Yeah. So the idea with the beginning when I was asking for things, my first year and so of in recovery, I had preconceived ideas how those things should look and what package it should be in. So I was missing a lot of the deliveries that life was sending me. Yeah. And so noticing that uh, opened up a possibility. Yeah. That when the head, said it's got to be in a 2x5 box with this color thing, I lost interest in that view. Yeah. There was a loss of interest in that view. So that view didn't become the view. It was just of a view. And then I started recognizing the packages uh, that life was sending. Yes. And I signed for them all.
If
When,
it's constant, it seems like it's always
yes,
happening.
yes,
It's always happening.
there's a flow of stuff. And then for your seat assignment, some of it's meant to be acknowledged. And then a lot of the mail is for other. Yeah, just a giant
Mm.
download of stuff. Now the cat wants to come back in. Hold on. There you go. That's another one of my seat assignments. I'm the doorman for the cat. The cat is where I got the idea of you're looking to get into what you're not out of and get out of what you're not in. That's exactly the head of the cat. The cat looks to go out. I let it out. When it's out, it's just looking in to come back in. It doesn't even go a foot it's just amazing. So I realized from the cat's example, the head is kind of get out of what it's not in and get into what it's not out of. It's just that's the way it goes. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times when don't you know, when you have an idea where you left the phone when you're looking for it, that idea actually makes you blind to see the phone. You may be seeing the phone, but you think you know where you left it. Yeah. And until you let go of that idea of knowing where you left it, it seems to not appear. And then suddenly it appears. Yes. There are like constant examples of it. Yeah. I have an idea and it's wrong. And that idea, having faith in it, makes me blind to where the phone is. Just that simple. And then when it's pops, the phone suddenly appears. and I was basically almost looking exactly at where the phone was, and I did not see it. Yeah, because I had an idea where I thought it was. So you see that, and how you see that is not after it, it's a sign of being before it. Yes, you're before it. Anytime you're after something, you do not get a really clear view of it. You get a clear view of it when you see it before. Yeah. When you're before it, that's a clear view. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The after, uh, a whole lot of stuff can get lost in that time. But the before, yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like knowing where you're going without even knowing if that even makes sense. I don't know. It's
Well, in the
like,
hands,
n-
the hands, how you're being held as you're going. You
yeah.
feel the grip of something. Just like when you feel the grip of the head, anxiety ensues. You feel the grip of some other juice, and that lets you relax. Yes? Yes. This is call and response.
Hmm.
Yeah. The head has its own call and response. Yes. This is call and not the head's response. There's another response available. Yeah. Yes. That will happen before the mental reaction. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you'll have a you'll have a possibility before its only possibility. The head loves to say this is the only way. You have another sense of a way before it, before that complete exclusivity. It's either this or that is presented. You know different. You know different. Yes. There's a knowing that it can be different. Yeah. This happens over time. The action figure, uh, mm, it's in, but it's an interesting thing. The of can come through it. Yeah. So as Jesus says, it's in the world, but not of the world. So that ofness can come through the in. Yeah. Yeah. You can see miracles through it. You can say something was as wise as anything that it ever said, and you had no idea what you were saying when it happened. Yes? The of
Mhm.
can speak through you, can uh, express through you a lot of the time without us being aware of it as the in, as the action figure. But in time, you get to be aware of it, and it brings a joy, another kind of joy. Yeah. And a feeling of, yes, I was placed in a position of neutrality. I was brought to where I stand right now. I was dropped into where I find myself. Yeah. It's a different feeling that I've got to get there. I've got to stay there. I got to do this. It's a whole different way of going about things. Yeah. Yeah. And if it's suiting you, it's going to suit you really well. It
Well,
is.
the scary thing has been over time, Paul. I feel like being surrendered, at various times in various ways, and then the regrouping of the head to, now it's learned something and it's going to use that to figure shit out again. And that's what just gotten so old, seemingly. I don't know, man. I just don't
Yes.
know. All I know is like what you're saying. It's like hard to even describe it. It's just like, it's the head still wants to try to figure things out in advance, but I'm just like, whatever. It's like you're being taken care of, you're being carried.
This is where
Mm,
you trust the doctor and stay on the operating table.
mm,
The head isn't going to give you a clear assessment of how things are going, especially about you and that.
I don't know why. It's
It
full of
is.
fear.
So
Yeah.
you, ask the doctor how you are. Don't ask the patient right now. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Because a lot of
Thank you.
people probably have seen a lot of changes in you that your head's not allowing you to see. Yeah. So you may be, we're all in the tiger's mouth already. There's no going back. You're not going to get undigested by the message. It's a little, it's little beneficial flora is working on you already. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to earn this relief. You don't have to prove it that you deserve it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to plead for it. You don't have to sacrifice anything for it. You just gotta lose interest in the opinions and the concepts and the shit of the head. Yeah. And you can't do that as a product of the head. So you have to see it from outside of it. Yeah. And there'll be a loss of interest in it. And then things will be seen in a different light, even though it's the same light that was there all the time. You'll see it in a different light than the head does. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you've done great, Annette. You needed to get your fundamentals down. Now you've got a car, you have a place to be in outside the shelter. Yes? All that's fucking awesome that that's happening. That a life that supports an ease and comfort is building around you. Yeah? Or at least a sustainability that doesn't demand a lot of anxiety. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
It's so crazy, Paul, because all these years, I mean, I was hell bent. I'm 53 years old. I'm the youngest of six. I was hell bent on not making all the mistakes of, not only my parents, but watching my brothers and sisters. That was always my story. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And just so determined to be so self sufficient. And then what this turn of events happened about a year ago, back on Long Island, it just kind of everything just came apart. Now the irony is now I've like lived with roommates, which I was so again, like I was like, no, I need to be able to control my environment. I need to be able to, like meditate in the morning, whatever it took, never expecting for others to be able to be like, I could flow with them in a way that's just whatever. It just takes care of itself. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's the other way. Yeah.
Just apparently.
Yeah. I thought, in as the action figure, I thought I was gonna ride alone into the horizon. Seriously. And then I met Amelia and it went a whole completely different way. Yeah. She
Mm.
has four kids and wow. Yeah. So surprise, surprise. You'll be amazed how much flexibility you really have. Yes. Yeah. 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 So,
Mm.
well, anything else? Anyone else?
No, no hands, Paul.
Yeah. You know what's looking for the knowledge of non-duality? It's the action figure. Yeah. Yeah. It wants relief. The problem is, in a way, it has a lot of ideas, and those ideas, yes, need to be weakened. How are you going to do that? You can't. Yeah. Surrender, literally. Yeah. Things can happen, but they may not be done by you, but things will be done. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, just really wanted to emphasize a little bit about that because yeah, whatever. It was great. Happy to be here tonight. And yeah. Let's say, Michael, thank you, Mr. Stacy, as always. Gonna move this. Stephen Mack on having never left, yes. Kerry, always a pleasure. Travis, nice. Yeah, I was talking about you. I'll just call you later. It's all right. I just want you to I'll talk to you about something later. Susan Harris, always thank you, my dear. Annette, Miak. Nice to see Miak. Can't see you well, but I know you're there. Ben in Kansas, yes, he's one of two missionaries we have in Kansas. John Kay, our historian. Robert Crossman, brother from another mother. Vimal, nice to see you, lovely couple. Yeah. JP Sola, Stephen Cole, nice to see you, bro. You're going to be at the main house this year. All right, good. Matt Chicago, thank you, Matt, for the on the last text, and yeah, come to Joshua Tree. Yeah, it's awesome. Eric SoCal, yeah, remember there's going to be the trooper exchange.
Oh, it's an exchange.
You're going to give me a trooper, and I'm going to take a trooper. That's the exchange. Heather, I saw that workout, man. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Jeez. I got a fence that I need to be built. You just come on over. Yeah. Put that energy to good use. David Lowe, nice to see you, my friend. Yeah. Matt in Chicago, everyone. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow night. And again, we're doing something in Joshua Tree the weekend of the 9th, January 9th. I think it's posted, the place will be. So if you're anywhere near there and you want to drop in, we'll be there.
Right on, man.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thanks,
Paul.
Michael.
You, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.